but otherwise has been a rank underperformer compared to, say, the best of the lot, which is ICICI Bank. But it posted, as we said, a good sort of numbers, and the asset quality has also improved to a 22-quarter high. Kunal Shah is joining us from ICICI Securities. Kunal, good morning. Thanks for joining us. Now, how do you approach Axis? Because it's been a bit of an underperformer, though it's caught up in the last few days. Given these numbers, what would be your call?
So the earnings have surpassed expectations across most of the operating parameters, and after having lagged with respect to growth as well as margins, there has been a catch-up which has happened in Q3. So I think clearly with this kind of a growth acceleration, margin improvement, and stabilization of the asset quality, which was reflected again in this quarter, they are heading towards 16% plus ROE over the next couple of years. So we are positive on the name, as we have highlighted on your channel. It's one of our top picks, and we have target price of 1,050, which is more than 50% upside from the current level.
Kunal, maybe if the market is, stays a little okay, one doesn't know, it'll be a little all over the place at start. ICICI Bank will have its true reaction today, or you think what we saw yesterday was all right, given the run-up we had before that? What's your sense?
On Axis in particular?
ICICI.
Sorry, won't be able to comment on that, because that's the current entity.
Okay, but I guess the larger question is, from the the bigger banking names, does Axis stand tall compared to the rest of the pack? I mean, given the context of the numbers, and also do you see a further improvement in asset quality across the board? Because that seems to be the big story now, right? That there is cleaning up of the balance sheet, there is an improvement in asset quality, the economy has also recovered quite a bit. So is that the big takeaway from the earnings this time?
Yeah, sure. Across the board, we have seen GNPAs coming up. In fact, credit cost also for Axis, that was contained below 1% and now when we look at it overall, in fact, most of the other banks have also seen sequential decline in terms of the credit cost. So with collection efficiencies improving, moderating slippages trend, which we have seen across the board, definitely asset quality seems to be improving. And for Axis, in fact, that has been one of the key delta to the earnings over past 2 quarters. In fact, the credit cost has been surprising positively. So this time, again, as I mentioned, like it's kept under 1% and over next 2 to 3 years, I think it will be somewhere around 1 to 1.2% range, and that is what will drive the ROEs upwards.
Okay, so the next big one to watch, of course, will be Kotak and SBI. Kunal, what would you expect from them?
So again, with respect to Kotak, I think the way most of the private banks have been reporting 5 to 7% quarter-on-quarter growth, we are expecting something similar to come in from Kotak as well. And on credit quality, in fact, with respect to the gross NPAs as well as credit cost, it has been performing pretty well. So we will see a good traction coming in from Kotak. And SBI, over past 4 to 5 odd quarters, all through the pandemic, in fact, it has surpassed private banks on most of the operating parameters. So that delivery would continue. The only thing is maybe compared to that of private banks, credit growth for SBI would be relatively on the lower side, but we will still see the catch up on a quarter-on-quarter basis on a standalone basis for SBI.
Okay, just one final question. I don't know if you track it, but some of these smaller banks had a really good performance this time. I mean, Bandhan Bank, we were speaking to the management as well a couple of days ago, and they said the worst of the asset quality pressures behind them. There were some upgrades as well that came in post numbers from the likes of CLSA, etc. Do you think that this is a story, this is some sort of a multi-year upcycle that's beginning in some of these smaller banks?
So Bandhan, on 2 aspects. One is on MFI. Collection efficiency has improved 4 to 5 percentage points quarter on quarter, and maybe we are seeing that asset quality seems to be stabilizing, be it with respect to West Bengal, Assam, and even it's picking up in the other states. Plus, the most surprising element for Bandhan was the sequential growth of 9 odd percent against the stress pool which they were carrying. So when the business update itself came out, it was anticipated that the earnings would have been better. And after having knocked off 8% of the book in Q2 itself, again we saw credit cost being managed relatively well. So they have taken care of the larger part of the stress, and in fact we have been positive on the name, and we had a target price of 390 all through, even when stock was 250 it has run up. But given that we were also expecting some kind of improvement in the operating metrics, we had this kind of a target price.
Okay, all right. Kunal, we leave it at that. Thanks a lot for joining us and taking us through your view. So that's the word coming in on Axis Bank. Very good set of numbers. In pre-opening as well, I mean, just pull up the chart of Axis Bank. It is trying to bat for the bulls in whatever way it can. It's the only stock in the green in pre-opening right now.